Anastasia Kravinoff.
Call me Kraven. Kraven the Hunter.
Hello and welcome to Marvelous Videos. Kraven the Hunter is one of Marvel's most iconic and enduring villains. His name brings visions of the jungle, but since he's always after our favorite wall crawler, we find his most iconic hunts taking place in the concrete jungle of New York City. However, did you know his legacy stretches far beyond Earth 616, with many variants throughout the Marvel multiverse? These alternate portrayals take the essence of the Master Hunter and reimagine him in fascinating ways, from enhanced powers to dramatic mutations. Today, we'll explore every version of Kraven the Hunter that brings something unique and unforgettable to the table. Let's begin. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Earth 616, Kraven the Hunter, original. The original Kraven the Hunter, whose real name is Sergei Kravinoff, first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 15, released in 1964, and illustrated by Steve Ditko. He was a Russian noble who lost his family status and managed to construct his life as a great hunter who was defined by pride and his need to be the best predator the world had ever seen. However, in order to do that, he needed to defeat his ultimate challenge, Spider-Man, whom he believed was worthy of his remarkable skill. Kraven's personality is an equal mix of honor and madness. Unlike most villains in the Spider-Verse, who depend on high technology or overpowering strength, Kraven considers himself a purist, disdaining guns and hunting bare-handed or with primitive tools, mainly different types of daggers. He's one of the most ruthless opponents that Spider-Man has ever encountered, with his sharp mind and cunning tactical prowess pushing the latter to his wits' end with each battle. Kraven's powers can be attributed to a magical elixir, which makes him more superhumanly powerful. This serum boosts all his abilities to a level parallel to Spider-Man. And since it also slows his aging process, Kraven manages to remain in prime condition even during the course of decades. His expertise in countless fighting styles, massive knowledge about traps and poisons, and seemingly supernatural ability to track and predict the prey make him one of the most dangerous villains in the Marvel Universe. Earth 616, last son of Kraven. Having his resurrection botched at the hands of his wife and children, Sergei Kravinoff, with daughter Anna Kravinoff by his side, hunted and killed the rest of the members of the Kravinoff family. However, he didn't find himself happy to leave behind only his daughter as his heir. So, to build an heir, he traveled to Wundagore Mountain, where he forced High Evolutionary to make 87 clones of him with accelerated aging. Sergei took his clones with him to the Savage Land to teach them the art of hunting. Once he felt they were ready, they were released into the wild with the mandate to prove their worth, to stand for him and his legacy. But the clone that stood out turned out to be more cruel than all of his siblings. He killed all his brothers and brought their skulls back to Kraven as trophies. Sergei was impressed by his brutal nature, and as a result, this particular clone became the true heir of Kraven. He was named Last Son of Kraven. One of the Last Son's most vital storylines was told in Volume 5, Issue 22 of Amazing Spider-Man, where the Last Son encountered Spider-Man in Kraven's lair, and he mercilessly bashed and strangled the superhero to death. However, when he removed the spider mask, he discovered that he had just murdered his father, Sergei Kravinoff, who wore the guise of Spider-Man in a scheme to break the immortality curse. After the funeral of Sergei, the last son found a letter from his father where Sergei left behind not only his legacy, but also the mantle of Kraven the Hunter to him. So the Kraven that we see today in the comics is not the original Sergei, but it is his last son. The last son was injected with the same magical serum that had given Kraven his superhuman powers. These powers made him a worthy successor to his so-called father, but he was much more brutal, savage, and reckless in his methods. Earth 92-131, Kraven, Spider-Man the Animated Series. In Spider-Man the Animated Series, Kraven the Hunter maintains many of his classic abilities, but has a different origin story. In this version, Sergei Kravinoff was once a great African hunter who traced his heritage back to Russian nobility. But when hunting was outlawed in the region, Sergei learned to survive by becoming a safari guide for expeditions. Soon he met Mariah Crawford, a scientist who had come to Africa to investigate the mysterious disappearance of Dr. James Reeves, a researcher lost in the jungle. Mariah and her party hired Sergei as their guide and guardian against the perils of the wild. As they ventured into the wild, Mariah and Sergei fell in love with each other. During their journey, they finally found Dr. Reeves, who had discovered a serum that would protect him from diseases in the jungle. Unfortunately, the formula had a horrible effect that turned him into a savage, feral creature. Then, before he disappears into the woods, Reeves tells Mariah never to use the serum on herself or anyone else. One day, Sergei had to save Mariah from a pack of hyenas when he got very badly hurt, leaving him almost dead. In a desperate attempt to save his life, Mariah took the last drop of Dr. Reeves' serum and gave it to Sergei. This resulted in his revival, but it also gave him enhanced senses, strength, and insatiable ferocity. These abilities transformed him from an ordinary man into Kraven the Hunter. Earth 26496 Kraven, Spectacular Spider-Man. Sergei Kravinoff in the animated series The Spectacular Spider-Man is an excellent gamekeeper from Russia, serving in Africa and recognized as the greatest hunter worldwide. Kravinoff wore a lion-shaped vest and hunted by only relying on his raw instinct. In this portrayal, Kravinoff came along with a lion pet. This lion served as both a companion and as his hunting mate. Kravinoff's pursuit of being the world's most greatest hunter led him to the urban jungle of New York City, where he hoped to find Spider-Man. At first, Kravinoff was a formidable foe for the web-slinger, but he was eventually defeated. Believing that this defeat was due to Spider-Man's superior genetically engineered physiology, Kravinoff became obsessed with learning the source of the hero's power. With his lion by his side, Kravinoff tracked Spider-Man's scent through the city, even sending shivers down the spines of the staff at the Daily Bugle and piquing the ire of J. Jonah Jameson. His search took him to ESU Labs, where he found Professor Miles Warren. Warren had been conducting research based on the lizard formula of Dr. Kurt Connors and made a serum that Kravinoff injected into himself. This transformed him drastically. The transformation turned him into a black-maned lion with extra DNA of the leopard and cheetah, making him both humanoid and animalistic. Sergei Kravinoff took on his new power and identity and named himself Kraven the Hunter. Thus, he started living as a dangerous mutated predator. Earth 1610 Kraven Ultimate Universe. In the Ultimate Universe, Sergei Kravinoff is an Australian-born hunter and the star of his own reality show. He was known for hunting dangerous animals. His final plan was to boost his ratings by hunting and killing Spider-Man live on air. However, Kraven quickly got knocked out by a single punch from the web-slinger and proved to be a fraud. His defeat was a humiliating one, and it was flashed to the world. As a result, he lost his show, and his reputation began to decline drastically. Eager to reclaim his glory and claim revenge over Spider-Man, Kraven turned to DNA manipulation. He experimented on his genetic makeup, rendering it possible for him to alter into a monstrous, feline-like creature with massive strength and ferocity. The new skills he acquired had him intent on redeeming his reality show and defeating Spider-Man. However, as they attempted to put out everything, he was apprehended by the Ultimates as he engaged in illegal gene tampering. Imprisoned alongside some of the most infamous Spider-Man villains, including Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Electro, and Sandman, Kraven eventually escaped with them. In an attempt to take down the wall crawler, he joined the Sinister Six, but during their battle against the Ultimates, Kraven was hit by one of Thor's thunderbolts and thus recaptured by S.H.I.E.L.D. Later, Kraven is once again released from jail, this time by the Green Goblin, who plots to kill Spider-Man. Equipped with blasters and knives, Kraven battles alongside the Sinister Six in a fight against Spider-Man, but again ends in defeat when Spider-Man short-circuits Electro, knocking Kraven out. Even without magical augmentations, this version of Kraven's athleticism and tenaciousness remain key characteristics of his personality. Earth 12041 Kraven Ultimate Spider-Man TV series. Kraven the Hunter of the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series is a Russian hunter with a modern twist, being a more high-tech hunter than his comic book take. He's on a mission to become the world's greatest hunter and has all these rare and magical artifacts associated with animals from all around the globe, one of them being the White Tiger's signature tiger amulet. Making his debut in episode 2 of season 4, Kraven's story takes a more personal turn born when he finds himself obsessed with hunting Ava, the current white tiger. With this comes the revelation that it was actually Kraven who killed her father, the previous white tiger, and in doing so, the rivalry becomes all too personal. Kraven is part of the armored version of the Sinister Six that clashes with Spider-Man in an intense battle in Season 2, Episode 24. However, like many other previous attempts, the team failed, and Kraven had his plans thwarted once more. This particular Kraven mixes the archetypal hunter with the modern touch of technology and gadgetry, presenting a new dynamic to the character under the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. Earth 19529 Kraven, Spider-Man Life Story. In Spider-Man Life Story, a darker kind of Kraven the Hunter evolves into a tragic one. This comic book series is unique in the sense that it shows Peter Parker aging in real time, just as both his life and his surroundings undergo changes. In this portrayal, Kraven evolves from his Earth 616 counterpart to become a shadowy one as personal demons rewrite his identity. The story of Kraven the Hunter begins in 1984, when the Cold War between the US and the USSR is at a boiling point. Kraven is diagnosed with terminal cancer. He takes advantage of the fact that most superheroes are off-planet during the Secret Wars to assume Spider-Man's role as the United States Defender. He starts his campaign by killing criminals while wearing a replica of Spider-Man's black outfit. Eventually, he tracks down and buries the actual Spider-Man to replace him. But Peter Parker, now a monstrous, angry version of himself, has the strength to rise from his tomb thanks to the alien symbiote he wore as part of his new Spider-Man suit. The angry hero confronts Kraven, who's astonished by Spider-Man's new form. Just as Kraven thinks of taking his own life, the symbiote attaches to him, thus saving him from suicide and making him a hybrid of Kraven and Venom. This grotesque Kraven reappears in 2019 when Peter and Miles Morales encounter him on a Stark satellite. However, it's revealed that Kraven had long since died, and the symbiote was only using his corpse to fashion a humanoid body, thereby symbolizing the tragic and lasting consequences of his obsession with hunting. The plot of this character is obviously reminiscent of Kraven's Last Hunt storyline, but the way the symbiote saves Kraven from suicide is similar to Eddie Brock's own near-suicide before the symbiote took over. Earth 31, Kraven the Hunter, Spider, Edge of the Spider-Verse. In Earth 31, Kraven the Hunter's hunt of a legendary lion in Zimbabwe takes an unusual and transformative turn. He finds the lion dead and already killed by a gigantic spider. He soon becomes the spider's next prey. Kraven kills the spider after a short but intense battle, but then he finds that the giant arachnoid had bitten him. The bite injects venom into him, rewriting his biology and changing him into a spider totem. This renders him endowed with the attributes of Spider-Man, including spider sense, wall crawling, and enhanced agility that strengthens his body, along with all its athletic strengths and hunting capability. Months after the transformation, Kraven takes a new identity, Hunter Spider. As he embraces the spider life, J. Jonah Jameson assigns him the role of eradicating the remaining animal-masked costume supervillains in the streets of New York City. Kraven starts off hunting mercilessly and killing the villains, gathering their corpses and mounting them for display at his house. One afternoon, admiring his trophies, Kraven receives an unannounced warning from his spider sense. A swarm of wasps is breaching his house. He kills and eats the wasp, then finds out that they have been laced with psychotropic poisons. Relying on his strengthened immune system, Kraven could feel the incredibly potent consciousness controlling the wasp. Desiring to hunt down this mysterious force, Kraven sets out looking for Madam Web. His quest takes him to join the multiversal Spider Army, expanding his role in the web of spider totems across the multiverse. Earth 1048 Kraven, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 video game. In Marvel's Spider-Man 2 video game, the background of Sergei Kravinoff takes a darker turn, more personal than that of his original outing, as he was diagnosed with cancer. Instead of wallowing in his illness, Kraven looks for his finest foe so that he might die on his terms rather than as a sick man. He goes to New York City searching for the final adversary of his caliber and starts slaying prominent foes such as Scorpion, Vulture, Electro, and Shocker. Kraven's search for an honorable death is fulfilled when he's killed by Harry Osborn. at the time attached to the Venom symbiote. This Kraven was ruthless by nature, but had a sense of honor and spirituality, often seen praying before each hunt lesson passed down from his mother. The fact that he wanted to die fighting a worthy opponent proves that, beneath all the bravado of a hunter, there is indeed a code of respect for anyone who can defeat him. Kraven has high-tech devices like the electromagnetic double-bladed axe, electromagnetic halberd, cloaking device, and crossbow with homing missiles. Equipped with such weapons, Kraven was in the best position to encounter any adversary in his pursuit of that final glorious battle. Earth 8311, Kraven the Hunter, Spider-Ham universe. Kraven the Hunter from Earth 8311 is featured in a highly comedic and satirical tale to parody Kraven the Hunter in Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham's comics are famous for featuring absurd and comedic takes from the traditional superhero genres, and in this alternate reality world, Kraven, who is actually a raven, buries and impersonates the legendary Spider-Ham, taking his place to have fun and wreak havoc. Once in disguise, Kraven attracts Mary Jane Waterbuffalo, Spider-Ham's girlfriend, who finds Kraven more attractive than Peter Porker, culminating in an apparent marriage between the two. This situation creates a rather comedic scenario in which heroism and villainy roles get humorously flipped. This twist comes to an end when Spider-Ham returns to reclaim order after receiving empowerment from Captain Zooniverse's powers. Finally, with his new powers, he defeats Kraven and throws him off into space as an ultimate kick in the teeth, or kick in the beaks in this case. Kraven's character even has the usual accessories of the famous hunter and dresses similarly, but Kraven's preferred weapons, a broomstick, bazooka, and submachine guns, further highlight how ridiculous and whimsical the Spider-Ham universe is. Earth 91126 and Earth 2149 Kraven, Marvel Zombies. Even the greatest hunter is not safe in a world where the dead are rising and hunger consumes all. As shown in Marvel Zombies Return, on Earth 91126, also known as Earth Z, Kraven the Hunter joined the Sinister Six to steal a sacred tablet from Peter Parker's college for Kingpin. But their scheme took on a horrifying turn when an alternate dimension zombie Spider-Man replaced Peter. The first to face this zombie menace was Kraven. The aroma of his jungle herbs triggered a ravenous hunger in the zombie, which tore open Kraven's throat and made him one of them. Once zombified, Kraven and the rest of the Sinister Six members, except for Sandman, who ran away, killed and devoured most of Spider-Man's friends. Crashing their party was Zombie Spider-Man, who then killed all of them in his campaign of revenge. Kraven's undead legacy goes far beyond Earth 91126. The first zombie Kraven appeared on Earth 2149, the site of a second Marvel Zombies outbreak, where an identically infected Spider-Man killed him. In Africa, this zombified Kraven contented itself with devouring natives and visitors, but the zombified Kraven from Marvel Zombies Return played a crucial role in infecting Earth's mightiest heroes. Earth 9214, Kraven, Marvel Noir. In the gritty, shadow-filled world of Earth 9214, also known as the Marvel Noir universe, Kraven the Hunter is a far cry from his traditional counterpart. This take of Sergei Kravinoff was a Russian circus performer with a flair for the theatrical, and he shared the spotlight with his half-brother, Dmitry Smirdyakov, the Chameleon. The duo found employment under Norman Osborn, a cunning gangster operating under the alias Goblin in this noir-inspired reimagining of the Marvel Universe. Unlike his more rough-around-the-edges Earth 616 counterpart, Noir Kraven was classy. He replaced the signature lion's mane vest with a tailored suit and French-cut beard, and was rarely seen without a pet monkey perched on his shoulder. Yet, even as he looked every inch the high-class gent, this Kraven retained the ability to tame animals, a nod to his circus origin. His arsenal consisted of a whip and a handgun, both of which were perfectly suited to the noir aesthetic. Kraven's story in this universe is short. He, with his brother Dmitry, gets drawn into Goblin's schemes, where he ends up being killed in a confrontation with Spider-Man. While the character is short-lived, Noir Kraven does give an interesting look combined with elegance and danger, and does offer a compelling alternative take on the iconic Hunter. Earth 9997, Kraven the Hunter. On Earth 9997, also known as Earth X, Sergei Kravinoff's life was similar to his Earth 616 counterpart, except for the cataclysmic mutation of humanity which changed his fate forever. As the world's population transformed into superhuman hybrid, Kraven himself became what he had long hunted, a beast. This change had driven him further into his primal instincts, making him hunt other mutated beings just for sport. Kraven became obsessed when he learned that the unmutated human was still living in New York City. This gave Kraven an opportunity for an ultimate hunt, and he kidnapped him to provoke the man into his final confrontation. However, Kraven's motivations went beyond sport. His metamorphosis into a beast left him racked by despair and suicidal thoughts, and he yearned for death at the hands of his prey. Eventually, his plans were foiled by Spider-Man and Captain America when they rescued the unmutated human and captured Kraven. At first disheartened, Kraven gave up his death wish and adopted a new doctrine. The age of men was over, and the age of beasts was to begin. He now turned to Norman Osborn to eventually release him to support his presidential run. Kraven was detained under the supervision of Sergeant Cage. Eventually, he was brought to Wakanda, where Henry McCoy, also known as the Beast, would decide his fate. Earth 616, Alyosha Kraven. Alyosha Kravinoff entered the public eye after his father killed himself. He was a mutant son of Kraven, with a mutant woman with whom he had an affair. As a result, Alyosha possesses powers that differentiate him from other members of the Kravinoff clan. Raised in the wilds of Africa, Alyosha was not part of the Kravinoff family, and he only rarely saw his father. This separation somewhat separated him from the dark legacy of the family, though he eventually chose to embrace it. Unlike his father's strictly human abilities, enhanced slightly by the potions, Alyosha has mutant-level abilities with a special power to communicate with animals, giving a new dimension to the mantle of Kraven the Hunter. After leaving his father's environment, Alyosha introduced a more carefree and eccentric approach, directly contrasting Sergei's intense and aristocratic mentality. Nickel, his pet wolf, accompanied him on all his travels, and eventually became his permanent companion. He ultimately decided to try his hand at being a Hollywood filmmaker. In the Grim Hunt story arc, he made his way back to the jungles, where his half-sister Anastasia killed him. Earth 616, Anastasia Kravinoff. Anastasia Anna Kravinoff was the daughter of Sergei Kravinoff and Sasha Kravinoff, a member of Inhuman lineage. Growing up in the shadow of their family's storied tradition of hunting, Anna learned to be the elitist by thinking that her aristocracy made her better than all others. This notion was furthered with the arrival of Vasily Sidorov, who brought the family ledger before her of all the treasures accumulated by the Kravinoffs before the Russian Revolution. As Anna grew up, she assumed her father's mantle as Kraven the Hunter, being the third person to take up the mantle. She felt a deep-seated resentment toward Spider-Man for what he had done to Sergei that led to his suicide. Her obsessive vendetta was to stalk Spider-Man mercilessly and test her skills against him repeatedly. After her father's resurrection, Anna played a crucial role in his dark plans, aiding him in eliminating members of their own family. However, when Sergei created 87 clones in a bizarre attempt to find a worthy successor, Anna cut off all ties with him. Like her father, Anna has superpowers inherited from ancient potions and elixirs. She's a skilled practitioner of Krav Maga and many other armed and unarmed combat techniques. Her skills are sharp enough to defeat even superhuman opponents like Spider-Man in one-on-one bouts. Her fighting style is intuitive, erratic, and highly effective. Anna's good at handling close-range melee weapons such as knives, swords, staves, and whips, though her hunting experience would make knives her primary choice of weapon. Anna's also an expert in toxicology, tracking, and marksmanship, embodying the ultimate hunter like her dad, making her the perfect package. Her only weakness seems to be her arrogance and overconfidence. Earth 138, Punk Kraven. Kraven the Hunter adopted a drastically different outlook in the dystopian, punk-infused world of Earth 138, one that reflected the disorderly and rebellious nature of his society. He was the frontman of his band, Kraven and the Hunters, when an unidentified patron recruited him to cause mayhem in the street. The intention was to evict locals and make room for gentrification. Kraven received cutting-edge technology from his employers, but all he asked in return was the opportunity to battle Spider-Punk, his archenemy. Having encountered Spider-Punk and his friends twice in one day, Punk Kraven was no stranger to mayhem. The crew eventually restrained him with webs after defeating him both times. Kraven happily revealed his aims during an interrogation, reveling in his twisted plans despite his failures. However, Taskmaster's presence cut short this exchange, further intensifying the tension. Punk Kraven's story ends explosively, literally. In a climactic battle with Spider-Punk and his team, Kraven died in an explosion while Taskmaster ran away. This Kraven was different and brutish looking, suitable to the raw aesthetic of his punk rock reality. A muscular figure with a mohawk and beard, he had tattoos on him, such as a skull on his head and upper arm, which was also accompanied by tribal markings. His outfit comprised leopard print trousers, a belt, and nothing on top that highlighted his primal nature. He carried a curved knife, an appropriate tool for a hunter who was spontaneous and chaotic. Punk Kraven was a colorful reimagining of the classic villain, combining the savage hunter archetype with the anarchistic ethos of his world. Earth 66, Kravertooth the Hunter. Kravertooth the Hunter reimagines Kraven as a crafty and fierce Smilodon in the Earth 66 dinosaur universe. One of the world's most formidable predators, Kravertooth pursued the most lethal victims to establish his supremacy. His ultimate target? Yep, you're right. It is the amazing Spider-Rex. Man, comic books can be so weird. Kravertooth followed Spider-Rex to Ben and May Parker's home, whom he used as bait to lure Spider-Rex out. It was successful, but when Spider-Rex emerged, Kravertooth raised the ante by sending Ben tumbling over a cliff. To his frustration, Ben returned safely as he had the ability to fly. Of course he could. He was a pteranodon. After that, Kravertooth pursued Spider-Rex through the jungle, taking sharp turns through dense foliage. The chase intensified as it led them to a gathering of other dinosaurs. As the scuffle ensued, one of the dinosaurs, Eddie, accidentally tumbled into a tar pit. The material molded Eddie into the monstrous Venomsaurus Rex, a dinosaur so terrifying that even Kravertooth decided to turn tail and run in terror. Kravertooth had all the natural aspects of a Smilodon in him, making him quite the fearsome opponent within this prehistoric world. His incredible strength, razor-sharp fangs, and predatory nature made him a living nightmare for any creature he would encounter, except for the Venomsaurus Rex, I suppose. Earth 311, Karnov. In the year 1602 of Earth 311, Karnov was a Russian hunter, butcher, and master thief. His skills in combat and stealth earned him a natural place within the super team of villains by Carnage, the Sinister Sextet. One of the Sextet's first assignments was to enter a London cathedral vault in order to steal its treasured collection. With Karnov, an expert in thefts, he would penetrate into the vault. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew would create some havoc outside by attacking people in the cathedral. Their plan was going smoothly as expected until they encountered an interdimensional team of heroes called Web Warriors. Despite the Sextet's strength and size, the Web Warriors quickly defeated them. Electro was the only member of the Sextet to escape after Karnov and his companions were forced to surrender. Karnov's persona perfectly embodies the traits of a thief and a hunter. His hair and mustache were equally balanced and well-groomed, lending a vision of refinement to his often rough demeanor. A bear fur was draped over his shoulders, a remembrance of his accomplishments and a sign of conceit. His outfit resembled ancient military hunting attire. Equipped with a sword, Karnov's design and equipment fused the customs of a skilled predator with the strategic approach of a competent thief. Earth 7840, Marvin the Hunter. Anthropomorphic creatures and people cohabit in the wild and fantastical realm of Earth 7840, where comical antics frequently override the laws of logic. Marvin the Hunter, the feline equivalent of the notorious Kraven the Hunter, assumes a completely new shape in this scene. Marvin the Hunter is an anthropomorphic cat with a design straight from the 1960s Saturday morning cartoons, kind of like Yogi Bear and Quick Draw McGraw. His features are rather exaggerated, and his brightly colored appearance makes him almost like the Cheetos mascot, Chester Cheetah, only without the sunglasses. But for all his cartoonishness, Marvin still has Kraven's personality, arrogance, guile, and one all-consuming focus: to hunt his selected prey, the amazing man-spider, this world's equivalent of Spider-Man. True to his Earth 616 counterpart, Marvin wears an adaptation of Kraven's hunting costume into his own feline form with leopard print accents. He is exactly the comedic extreme needed in a world where insects are important and anthropomorphic animals run the show. The sole known appearance of Marvin was a brief but memorable one on the splash page of the story What If the Spider Had Been Bitten by a Radioactive Human in the 8th issue of What If. Earth 11-131, Kraven the Hunter. On Earth 11-131, Kraven the Hunter takes a detour from his usual life as master tracker and predator, turning instead into the clever owner of the Jungle World Casino in Killville. Here, he hosts The Hunt, a messy, never-ending game designed to make the city's criminals kill each other while hunting for a coin with a big prize attached. Whereas the coin promises untold wealth for anyone who can deliver it to Kraven, the actual intent behind the hunt is much more selfish. By creating strife in Killville's gangs, Kraven makes them busy and less likely to challenge him or his dominion. In this Machiavellian machination, he controls the mayhem and makes the most of the mess, cementing himself at the top. As Misty Knight and Paladin, two law enforcement officers, infiltrate the casino armed with the coveted coin, a storm of violence unleashes within Jungle World. From the criminals to the casino employees, all follow Kraven's orders in an attempt to bring the duo down. Misty fights her way out of the casino to arrive at Kraven's lavish penthouse, where she uncovers his real reason for the hunt. Ever the opportunist, Kraven gives Misty a chance to take over his operation, but she turns him down to keep the reward money and flee with her companion. Despite his boastful declarations of being a world-class hunter, Kraven's trophies in the casino appear to be fraudulent and show how far apart from reality his self-proclaimed prowess is. This Kraven relies less on physical capabilities and more on psychological manipulation, making him a clever and manipulative figure instead of the beast he is in other realities. Earth 001, Kravinoff. In the Loom World reality of Earth 001, Kravinoff was an alternate version of Kraven the Hunter, who was cruelly transformed into a hound by the Inheritors, a family of interdimensional predators who hunted spider totems across the multiverse. As Verna's hound, Kravinoff was made to follow and catch spider totems, his instincts being harnessed to the task of Inheritors trying to gain dominance over Web of Life and Destiny. Though retaining some form of his natural hunting instincts, his mutation had made him nothing more than a vicious tool for his masters and their insatiable appetites. Kravinoff's group was unleashed on Earth 1610, where two spider totems, Miles Morales and Jessica Drew, were located. Although information about the hunt is not abundant, it was just one of many destructive incursions by the Inheritors that ravaged the multiverse. Earth 17952, Poison Kraven the Hunter. Poison Kraven is a terrifying combination of Kraven the Hunter from Earth 11182 and a member of the parasitic Poison, who are crystalline aliens that assimilate symbiotes and their hosts. Hailing from Earth 17952, the Poisons found they could merge with symbiotes to achieve unimaginable power, which they used to create an army that terrorized the multiverse. In this reality, Kraven, who was once venomized as he bonded with a symbiote, becomes one of their victims. He transforms into Poison Kraven, a relentless hunter driven by the Poison's hive mind agenda. In this new shape, Poison Kraven still had the skills of a hunter, but now these were supplemented with superpowers. His body turned into a crystalline entity almost completely immune to destruction, and his mind became part of Poison's will, obliterating his personal identity. Poison Kraven commanded several destructive campaigns, including a raid on a Nova Corps prison and an attack on the Ravencroft Institute. Despite his deadly effectiveness, Poison Kraven's life ended when a time-displaced Jean Grey assassinated the Poison Queen, cutting off the hive mind and causing the Poisons to fall apart. Marvelous verdict. That brings us to the end of this video. The many forms of Kraven the Hunter in the Marvel multiverse show that he is the adaptable, enduring legacy for a powerful character. This is seen through each variant's perspective on his very core identity as the greatest predator, whether it be through a prehistoric eye, an anthropomorphic take, or a futuristic symbiosis. All these help to enrich the level of Marvel's storytelling and introduce new perspectives on a character bound by obsession and challenge. Which version of Kraven do you like the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this video, smash that like button and share this video with everyone. I'll see you next time.